Have you ever imagined living in space, floating freely among the stars, stepping onto new planets, and watching Earth as a small glowing dot far behind you? It sounds like the perfect dream, but the truth is, space is the most dangerous and unforgiving place for humans. And right now, we simply can't live there permanently. The question is, why? What exactly is stopping us? First, in space, there is no air to breathe, no atmosphere to protect us, and no gravity to keep our bodies strong and functional. Without oxygen, we can't survive even for a minute. And without gravity, our bones and muscles start to weaken quickly, making us physically unfit to live long term. Space is also a silent battlefield of extreme temperatures, where one side can burn hotter than fire under direct sunlight, and the other can freeze to minus 270 degrees Celsius when turned away. But perhaps the most silent killer in space is radiation, coming from the sun and faraway stars, which can slowly destroy human cells, cause deadly diseases, and severely damage the human body if proper protection is not used. To survive in such an extreme environment, humans would need advanced oxygen systems, artificial gravity to protect our bones, radiation-proof space shelters, high-tech spacesuits for movement outside, and specially designed food and water supplies that can last for years. Even astronauts who live on the International Space Station can only survive for a limited time, usually a few months, and that too with constant exercise, strict diets, and daily medical supervision to keep their bodies from breaking down. But, despite all these challenges, why do scientists still dream of living in space? The answer is simple yet powerful. Because space offers humanity a future, a backup plan, a second home. If we can learn to live there, we could explore new planets like Mars, mine rare minerals from asteroids, build floating space cities that orbit the Earth, and even protect the human race from global disasters like asteroid impacts or nuclear wars. But space holds an even more fascinating secret. It doesn't just change our location, it changes time itself. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, when you travel at extremely high speeds, close to the speed of light, time slows down for you compared to people on Earth. This is called time dilation, and it's a scientifically proven fact. Imagine going on a deep space journey where you spend just 5 years on a fast-moving spaceship, but when you return to Earth, you find that 50 or even 100 years have passed here. You would have barely aged, while your friends and family would have lived entire lifetimes. Scientists have already tested this by sending atomic clocks on airplanes and satellites, and they found that the clocks in motion ran slightly slower than the clocks on Earth, proving that time truly changes depending on speed and gravity. In space, time travel is not science fiction, it's science reality. Elon Musk and NASA are already working on plans to build human colonies on Mars, and these missions are not just about visiting other planets, they are about creating a permanent human presence beyond Earth. But before we can call space our home, we must solve huge problems: building artificial gravity, protecting against deadly radiation, creating long-term food and water systems, making faster spaceships, and even preparing the human mind for the loneliness, fear, and isolation of space life. Some dream of giant floating space cities. Others imagine living under domes on the moon, while some believe humans will one day travel across the stars to discover new worlds. This is not fantasy. This is a future scientists are actively working towards. Living in space is not just about changing where we live. It is about changing what it means to be human, changing how we experience time, and changing how we understand life itself. Space is a door to the unknown, and walking through it will not just lead us to new homes, it may lead us to new versions of time and reality. So the question is not just whether we can live in space, but whether we are ready to face the physical, emotional, and scientific challenges to become a true spacefaring civilization. Are we prepared to leave everything familiar behind and write the next chapter of human life among the stars? Yikitne words par mushtamalhi. As we ponder the enormity of leaving Earth behind, the real challenge lies not just in the physics of propulsion or the shielding from cosmic dangers, but in reshaping every aspect of human civilization for the unknown. Once we overcome the basic survival barriers in space gravity, radiation, sustenance, we must confront an equally staggering task: designing societies from scratch in environments that have no precedent in human history. On Mars, for example, life won't merely be about staying alive. It will be about redefining life itself. Laws, economies, education, and even relationships will need to evolve in an environment that is inherently hostile and relentlessly alien. The first Martian settlers may not carry nations on their backs, but shared values of science, cooperation, and innovation. Education will likely focus heavily on STEM, agriculture, and mental wellness, while governance may lean toward technocracy and consensus, crafted by necessity rather than ideology. Perhaps Earthbound divisions will lose relevance when survival demands unity, and our children born off-world will carry identities not of a country, but of a species. Meanwhile, scientists will seek to terraform barren planets not just by releasing greenhouse gases to warm them, but by genetically modifying organisms to create breathable atmospheres and ecosystems. Synthetic biology will turn microbes into climate engineers, and robotic pollinators may precede bees in alien gardens. Imagine walking through a biodome forest on a terraformed Martian plain, where engineered trees grow under tinted skies, their roots planted not in soil, but in hydrogel matrices, enriched by Earth's microbial heritage. Back in orbit, Earth-like habitats rotating to simulate gravity-massive toruses, glittering above the clouds, could become sanctuaries for those seeking balance between the freedom of space and the familiarity of Earth-like life. These floating cities may include not only homes and farms, but theaters, temples, and entire forests, preserving cultural rituals while pioneering new ones. And yet, for all this progress, we must also prepare for the psychological transitions that deep space existence will demand. How will time feel when Earth's clock is no longer your own? What does belonging mean when your entire world fits inside a sealed dome or a spacecraft corridor? Rituals in art, poetry, and music will play a critical role in anchoring the human soul. We will carry not just tools and food, but language, folklore, laughter, and tears into the void, reminders that we are more than biological organisms. We are storytellers, dreamers, and builders of meaning. In some scenarios, AI and robotics will serve as collaborators and caregivers, offering not only mechanical support, but emotional companionship to ease isolation. Entire fields of space, psychology, and astroculture may emerge to help us adapt and thrive. Meanwhile, the legacy of Earth will evolve into something sacred, our birthplace turned legend. A pale blue dot visible only as a twinkling memory outside the viewport. Children born in orbit or on other planets may learn about Earth, the way we speak of ancient homelands. With reverence, with wonder, with a hint of myth. And when Earthlings and Martians eventually meet those who stayed and those who went, will they still feel part of one species? Or will time and distance have carved a cultural divergence? Interplanetary diplomacy might become as crucial as life support systems, requiring ambassadors of empathy as much as policy. As spacefaring humans begin to populate moons, asteroid belts, and perhaps the icy oceans beneath Europa's surface, they will encounter challenges that not only test technology, but also morality. Should we mine celestial bodies without limits, or establish planetary parks to preserve them in their primal state? If we find microbial life alien, delicate, and precious, we protect it like a sacred relic, or study it to unlock biology's deepest secrets? The questions will be hard. The choice is harder still. And beyond even these near-future horizons lies the long-term destiny of interstellar expansion. Though faster-than-light travel remains a speculative dream, technologies like solar sails, antimatter engines, and cryogenic suspension could allow humans to reach neighboring star systems within centuries. What cultures would emerge in multi-generational ships crossing the Black Sea of space for hundreds of years? Would they worship stars as gods, or become gods of innovation themselves? Would Earth's languages still be spoken, or would hybrid dialects evolve in pressurized chambers, adapted to echo differently in synthetic air? These are not merely fantasies, they are blueprints, fragments of futures being imagined by engineers, artists, philosophers, and everyday dreamers. And so, the journey beyond Earth is not simply about launching rockets. It is about launching a new chapter in what it means to be human. It's about carrying both knowledge and humility, ambition and caution into the cosmos. For every obstacle, it is solar flare, a psychological crisis, or a political dispute, we will need resilience drawn not from technology alone, but from imagination, cooperation, and memory. We will go forward, not because it is easy or convenient, but because curiosity is woven into the fabric of our species. Just as our ancestors crossed oceans in fragile ships with only stars to guide them, we now prepare to cross galaxies, seeking not conquest but continuity. And when that moment comes, when a child stands on an alien world under unfamiliar skies and looks back at Earth, visible only as a shimmer in the void, that moment will mark not an end, but a new beginning. The stars were never silent. We simply hadn't learned how to listen. Now, we are ready to answer.